Jain everyone, myself Dr. Roshan Lal and I'm a biology teacher at SVM Malerkotla, and today we are going to discuss plant tissues, and it is a topic in class 9th. So we can start with plant tissues. Tissues, as you know, cluster of a cell is known as tissues, and what is cell? Cell is structural and functional unit of life. And in plants, vascular tissues conduct food and water from one part of the plants to other parts. And if we talk about types of plant tissues, generally we have two types of tissue, that is meristematic tissue and permanent tissues. Again, in meristematic tissue there can be apical meristem, intercalary meristem and lateral meristem. And in permanent tissue there can be simple permanent tissue or complex permanent tissues. Now we will discuss about permanent meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissue is made up of a group of cells. They divide continuously to form new cells. Actually, their function is only to divide the cell or to multiplication of the cell. Then, depending upon the regions where they are present, meristematic tissues are classified in three types. Number one, apical meristem, like they will be present at apex of the shoot or apex of the root. Then their function will be typically to increase the length of the stem and root respectively. Second one, lateral meristem. The girth of the root and shoot will be increased due to presence of this lateral meristem. You can see here lateral meristem. They will help in the increase of girth of the plant. Then last one is intercalary meristem. It is seen in some plants located near the node. For example, your grasses, then there will be node, this, and this one is known as internode. So at the just above the node, there will be presence of intercalary meristem. Then permanent tissues. When meristematic cells takes up a specific role and lose the ability to divide, they form permanent tissues, or the process of taking up a permanent shape, size and function is called as differentiation. Then permanent tissue are again of different types, like simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. First we will discuss about simple permanent tissues. First one is parenchyma, then we will discuss about collenchyma, and lastly sclerenchyma. First one here, permanent tissue in this parenchyma. Parenchyma, it is the most common simple permanent tissues, and these are actually living cells and they are meant for the storage of food. Then second, they will be located just below the epidermis, and generally these are simple permanent tissues. Third one, sometimes they also contain chlorophyll and they can perform photosynthesis, and then they will be known as sclerenchyma. And in aquatic plants, these parenchymatous cells can form air cavities so that they help in the floating of the plants, and it is known as parenchyma. Here is the figure of your parenchyma cell. They will be loosely arranged inside the plant. Then collenchyma. The cells of this tissue are living, elongated and irregularly thickened at the corners. Like this, you can see in the figure, they will be thickened at the corner of the cell. And they are found in the leaf stalk below the epidermis. Then it allows bending of various parts of the plant like tendrils and stem of the climbers without breaking. And collenchyma tissue also provide mechanical support, and we can find this tissue in leaf stalk below the epidermis. And lastly, sclerenchyma tissues. It is tissue which makes plant hard and stiff. Example, husk of a coconut. It is made up of sclerenchymatous tissues, and the cells of this tissue are dead actually, and they are long and narrow as walls are thickened due to presence of lignin. It means in this cell there will be formation of lignification. Lignin will be deposited in these cells. And lastly, this tissue is present in stem, around vascular tissue or vascular bundles, veins of leaves, and in the hard covering of seeds and nuts. It provides strength to the plant parts. Now we will discuss about complex permanent tissues. Complex permanent tissue. This complex tissue are made up of more than one type of cells, and these cells are coordinated to perform common function. Like xylem and phloem are examples of your complex tissues. First one we will discuss about xylem. Xylem consists of 4 types of cells, that is xylem tracheas, then xylem vessels, xylem parenchyma, and xylem fibers. You can see a figure. Tracheas will be like this, then trachea or xylem vessels, then xylem parenchyma, and lastly xylem fibers. If we talk about function of xylem, typically tracheas and vessels, they help in the transport of water, and they are dead cells. And xylem parenchyma help in the storage of the food, and lastly these xylem fibers, they are mainly supportive in function. Now we will discuss about second part, that is phloem. Phloem is made up of again 4 types of cells. The first one is side tube element, then companion cells, phloem fibers, and phloem parenchyma. You can see here in figure, side tube element, it will have pores, and then phloem parenchyma and companion cell. Side tube elements are tubular cells with perforated walls. It means they will have presence of some kind of pores. Through these pores, transportation of food will be take place. Phloem transport food from leaves to other parts of the plants, and except phloem fibers, this one, other cells are living, and this one will be dead cells. It means they are only meant for the support of the tissues. So all this we study today about plant tissues. In this, first we talk about apical meristem or visual meristematic tissue, and then we talk about permanent tissue of the plants. Thank you.